Shalom and blessings, brothers and sisters. I don't know how to make this so that you guys can see the words correctly. I wrote this out because this is the lesson for today. Hebrew idioms, unlocking their meaning.
Sideways next to you, I think.
Well, other people do it and it shows it right. I don't understand.
You put it right on the right side of you?
It's not going to do it either way. Yeah, it's still backwards.
Really?
Yeah.
That is weird.
I think there's some kind of mirror effect. I just got to figure out how to get to settings in the camera. Okay, Hebrew idioms. Beast, bind and loose, green tree, living water, lake of fire, higher calling, eye of a needle, son of Belial. Eye is evil. E-I-E. This eye is evil. Eagles gather, bosom of Abraham.
Okay. Thank you, Happy. Something that I can see I can't break.
And if you want to find the calendar dates for the celebrations and festivals this year of Yahuwah, you can go on TorahZone.net, and Lou White sells these very nice cards that have all the dates for this year's calendar for all of the Hebrew holidays. The grave situation, figures of speech. This is still on Hebrew idioms, unlocking their meaning. Languages have from dozens to hundreds of idioms. A widely known Hebrew idiom, bosom of Abraham, is one of them, and one of them that is commonly missed and taken literally. It is a real place or an idiom for the grave. Is it a real place or an idiom for the grave? What is an idiom? An idiom is an expression of a concept, feeling, idea, circumstance, or thing. Even in a figurative sense, an idiomatic expression should never be interpreted literally. It is closely related to a maxim and a parable.
Here you go, darling. There you go. Good girl. Lunch and everything. Everybody's fine.
I had to put it in the phone that she ate. Okay, come on.
Sorry, I always mess them up. I always interrupt. I apologize.
Bella, don't do that. Okay, so an idiomatic expression should never be interpreted literally. It is very closely related to a maxim and a parable. What is a maxim? A maxim is a brief expression of general truth or rule of conduct. An example of a maxim is the pen is mightier than the sword. Idioms, maxims, and parables have been very useful teaching tools, especially in mainly oral cultures. What is a parable? A parable is a short allegorical story intended to illustrate or teach some truth, religious principle, or moral lesson. Yahusha used parables and figures of speech many times. At Luke 16, he used the Hebrew idiom, bosom of Abraham. This was a figure of speech they readily understood, and Yahusha used it to make his point about a very rich man and a desperately poor man. His point was that riches, pleasure, possessions, and position can be a stumbling block to us. He wanted to convey how important it is that we evaluate our behavior and how it will factor into our final destination. Our hearts are corrupt and lack compassion for our fellow human beings.
50?
Yeah, thank you. The rich man lacked compassion and was extremely selfish. He had the evil eye. And an idiom meaning he was stingy, miserly, and self-centered. Yahusha was not teaching us about the literal details of the hereafter, but rather figuratively using the idiom bosom of Abraham, to teach the principle of generosity, hospitality, and kindness. He was also giving us a glimpse of how he sees our treatment of one another. Let me see here. Yahusha used many idioms and parables. Well, an idiom is like a parable. His Nazarene followers knew he used them, and in one place they pointed this out. His taught ones said to him, "See, now you are speaking plainly and not using figure of speech." Yehukanan 16:29. The figures of speech refer to the use of idioms or parables. There are also personifications and anthropomorphisms used in Scripture. Wisdom is personified in Proverbs as if Torah is a she that behaves as if in human circumstances. Webster's defines the concept of anthropomorphism as an interpretation of what is not human or personal in terms of human or personal characteristics, humanization. Cultural idioms may easily be misunderstood when translated literally. They vary in transparency. Some familiar to us are bat out of hell or hell out of dodge, leaving with extreme haste, feeling under the weather and illness, in the same boat, in the same situation together, woke up on the wrong side of the bed, cranky, bat in the belfry, mentally disturbed, graveyard shift, working the late shift, past midnight, silver lining, unforeseen good aspect of a bad situation. If we play our cards right, be careful. Raining cats and dogs, or a torrential downpour. Red herring, which is distracting or misleading clue. Red hot, exciting. Red-handed, in the act of doing something wrong. Have a bone to pick, dispute between people. Heap coals of fire on his head. Shaming them. Raking over the coals, openly shaming someone. Thrown under the bus, exploiting a situation, causing blame to fall on an innocent person. Kick the bucket, croak, bite the dust, bought the farm, die, and so on. If we don't understand how to apply idioms, we can easily get egg on our face. This idiom means made to look foolish. Stop, Roscoe.
You have a ball. Hang on.
We can easily fly off the handle and invent fantasies. Unreal places we think may really exist. Purgatory, a fantasy realm. It's a syncretism borrowed from Buddhism. Catholicism exploits the belief in this fantasy realm to collect vast sums of wealth in exchange for indulgences, which are said to eliminate or reduce a fiery torture for venial sins, lesser sins. No one can be in purgatory because it doesn't exist. Purgatory appeared for the first time in Christian tradition in the late 12th century and is derived from a Buddhist practice of making offerings for the dead. Misunderstandings create strongholds, false reasonings, myths. Oh no. No, Bella. Yeah, misunderstandings create strongholds, false reasonings, myths. Figurative language, a KJV mistake, the apple of my eye or treasure. And that's the picture for that one. Roscoe. Hebrew idioms. The KJV uses the word apple, where the Hebrew text employs an idiom for an object of incomparable desire. One idiom became a completely different one here, since the Hebrew word does not mean apple, either literally or abstractly. Literally, it means like man of the eye. Apparently, the translator was hungry or really, really liked apples. It says P. There are many Hebrew idioms. If we take them literally, they only confuse us. One of them is the familiar phrase, the bride of Yahusha. This is an idiomatic expression since we know there is not a literal gender component involved. It's like a marriage, a covenant relationship of selfless love and total commitment. Other Hebrew idioms are heart, which is thinking. Eye of a needle, any task requiring great skill and focus. Uncircumcised ears or hearts, lack of commitment to Yahuwah. Make a wide mouth, which means sneer. Slept, which means died. To receive another heart is change the mind. Lifted up his eyes, which means saw. Hate, which means avoid or prefer less than another. Your right eye. Your will, decision, or fixed goals. Stumbling block, deterrent or obstacle. Throat, through an open grave. Or throat an open grave, speak deceitfully. Enlarged space, set free. Under the ban may mean either dedicated only to Yahuwah or be completely destroyed. Stiff neck is obstinate. Kiss the sun, show loyalty, render pure homage. Bronze forehead means brutish or unhearing. Remove the foreskin of your heart means commit yourself. What are you doing? Oh, don't do that. He just got that. No. You don't chew it up. Hard-hearted, stubborn, unyielding, or lacking compassion. Gird up loins means be ready. Open the womb, give birth. Kidneys, guts, inner courage. Flowing with milk and honey means fertile. Living water means Torah or observing love. Green tree means fruitful, righteous, obedient, and loving one. Dry tree, rebellious, unfruitful, hateful one. That's what that means. Seed, offspring or descendant. Bind and loose, forbid and permit. Bury my father, collect my inheritance. Evil eye, stingy, miserly. Poor in spirit, humble, selfless, or mourning one. Eagles gathered together, messengers, the weed reapers at the harvest of the earth, right hand, might or strength. Higher calling, those selected as the bride first fruits at the first resurrection. Old wine, men's teachings. New wine, truth. Freeing a person from men's teachings. New and old wine cannot mix together. One cannot serve two masters. He ripped it up, so I put it up there.
What?
He didn't rip it up bad, but he ripped it. Yes. The heart, wineskin, must hold on to the traditional men's teachings, old wine, or pure truth, new wine. Other idiomatic expressions include beast, lake of fire, mother of harlots, and lukewarm. In the Hebrew culture, Pharisees understood the bosom of Abraham as another way to refer to the grave, where everyone was in the same boat. Yahuwah never goes into detail about those in Sheol, or in hell. So we must acknowledge it under his sovereignty. We know next to nothing about it because it is not our current estate. We may desire to understand the circumstances, but we are able to keep our own estate or realm and not go on flights of fancy.
Flights of fancy. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
She went pee. I cleaned her off.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. Nicolaitans like to make people think they know things, but they really don't, because they operate in the realm of religion, not reality. The more they strain to explain unknowable things, the further out on the limb they climb. Addressing the elephant in the room, Hebrew approached by babblers, Greek, Latin, and English. And that's the picture for that. What is the state of the dead? The dead are in a state removed from our realm entirely, but still remain in the mind of Yahusha. They are outside our physical realm of space-time, so time is not passing for them. In this state of being, they are awaiting their resurrection from the dead. Such heavenly matters are very misunderstood by the vast majority, and this is quite understandable. The prophet Daniel is waiting in a state idiomatically called the bosom of Abraham right now, resting until he is raised at Yahusha's coming. Daniel 12:13. But you go your way till the end, and rest and arise to your lot at the end of the days. The dead are not consciously aware of anything, but resting in a temporal interlude as if sleeping. The dead know nothing, but unconscious or unaware, being unconscious or unaware. Their next conscious thought will be at the moment they are raised and in the presence of Yahusha. We are of good courage and are well pleased rather to be absent from the body and to be present with the Master. 2 Corinthians 5:8. That sounds as if it will be immediate as we reckon time. But we have to consider how we perceive reality here in the physical realm needs to be adjusted for the heavenly matters, over which Yahusha alone is sovereign. The dead will be in the presence of the Master in one of two events, called the first and second resurrections. Although their flesh has ceased to live, Yahusha stated that all are alive to him. This is explained at Matthew 22:32. Daniel and Dawid are not yet in the presence of Yahusha. Note Yehukanan 3:13. And no one has gone up into the heaven or the Shamayim except he who came down from the heaven, the son of Adam. Also Acts 2:34. No one is in heaven yet, nor has anyone entered the lake of fire. You'll see this as you read further. 2 resurrections of the dead are ahead of us. Yahusha will determine if they will be clothed with immortality or face annihilation in the second death, the lake of fire. Both righteous and unrighteous who have died are in a place called the grave, Hebrew Sheol. They will be called forth to one of two resurrections from the dead. The first resurrection will occur at Yahusha's return to reign, and the second will occur at the end of the millennium, 1,000 years. The linchpin of all history. The first resurrection, Yahusha's return to earth. The first resurrection will be calling forth the bride of Yahusha, or the first fruits. This is the time of the wedding supper of the Lamb. These are all idioms describing the chosen ones, and their joining to Yahusha when all his fullness dwells in them, his Ruach HaKodesh. At the first resurrection, a changing of the guard will occur, as the beast and the false prophet will be the first and the only ones to enter the lake of fire. Who or what is the beast? The beast is an idiom for the reign of Babel. The beast is the bureaucracy of Babel, currently reigning in the world. It is a highly organized authoritarian structure of teaching authorities and governments. It includes Babel's operation, system, network, and pattern of behavior, all witchcraft, along with the orders of the world system, clergy, nobility, and laity. The reign of Yahusha is near and is our message. At Yahusha's coming, this beastly reign will be completely wiped out. Babel the Great is fallen, Revelation 18:2. The beast is not literally a person, and neither is the false prophet. These two entities represent the authoritarian control that is taken out of the way when Yahusha begins his reign. The bureaucracy of Babel and the office of the false prophet never rise again to reign over the earth. 1,000 years pass as Yahusha reigns on the earth with his bride. The first fruits group. The first fruits are his Nazarene branches fully connected to him, the root of all power and authority. The first two to enter the lake of fire are the beast and the false prophet, an office claiming to be the Holy Father. And I saw the beast representing, representing the bureaucracy of Babel, which includes the false prophet, the first estate, and the sovereigns of the earth, the nobility, the second estate, and their armies, the common people, laity, the third estate. Oh no, shoot. Okay.
This cat right there. Oh, dude, you kidding me.
I gotta put Bella's potty in there. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Gathered together to fight who sat on the horse and his army. And the beast was seized, and with him the false prophet who worked signs in his presence, by which he led astray those who received the mark of the beast, and those who worshipped his image. The two were thrown alive into the lake of fire burning with sulfur. Revelation 19, 19, and 20. I have a video on Revelation if you guys want to read it or watch it. We are the beast and the false prophet thrown into the lake of... Why are the beast and the false prophet thrown into the lake of fire? The beast and false prophet are the facilities of the reign of Babel. They oversee all world authority given to them by the dragon. Yahusha's reign will annihilate the dragon's hold over mankind. The dragon offered Yahusha the authority to reign over the entire bureaucracy of Babel. Again, the devil took him up on a very high mountain and showed him all the reigns of the world in their esteem, and said to him, all these I shall give you if you fall down and worship me. Matthew 4:8-9. If we interpret the idiom lake of fire literally to be a sea of flames for eternal torture, rather than a term meaning utter annihilation, then we have ignored the idiom. We miss the meaning of the beast and the false prophet as well. These two are authorities, principalities, and powers that have to be taken out of the way at Yahusha's coming. It's not the reign of the Holy Spirit that is taken out of the way. And now you know what restrains for him to be revealed in his time. For the secret of lawlessness is already at work, only until he who now restrains comes out of the midst. And then the lawless one shall be revealed, whom the master shall consume with the spirit of his mouth and bring to naught, annihilation, lay waste, with the manifestation of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the work of Shaitan or Satan, with all power and signs and wonders of falsehood, and with all deceit of unrighteousness in those perishing, because they did not receive the love of the truth in order for them to be delivered. And for this reason, Elohim sends them a working of delusion, a strong working of delusion, for them to believe the falsehood, in order that all should be judged who did not believe the truth, but have delighted in unrighteousness. 2 Thessalonians 2:6-12. I will read in my next video the second resurrection, the lake of fire, Kabbalah, the mysticism of Rabbinic Judaism. This subject concerns teachings, not people. Traditions of the fathers, the yeast of the Pharisees, Rabbinic Judaism, Guru Glue, awareness through 4 levels, Gnosticism invasion, and Yahuwah has not spoken in secret. I will read for my next video. And then we'll only have probably 1 or 2 more lessons after that out of this book. But I will continue doing lessons for you guys. I love to spread the truth of Yah. And I hope that Yahuwah blesses you all, you and your families. I love you all, Mishpaka. Shalom. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye.
Let's go, yeah.
Say bye-bye.
Hey, I'll get it.
Okay.